Woodsman!
Here comes summer. Man, I really
So tell me again, where's the lake?
Right there.
And where's the summer camp?
Right over there.
I'll take it.
Now, I am obligated to disclose that the previous owners were murdered in this house.
Whoa, buddy, quit drilling. You already struck oil.
Horror movie villains. You know them. They're super iconic. Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, the Ghostface. Like, they are just super duper iconic in the horror space. There are so many. Now, what if I told you a kids show, Scooby-Doo, made a horror movie? Now, you might be thinking, what am I talking about? Scooby-Doo project? Like a laughable, kids, funny, like type of thing? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Not the Scooby-Doo project, mind you, but Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. Now, Scooby-Doo Camp Scare is a direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movie that is the summer camp classic of the modern day. Came out in 2010. This is Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. Now, very iconic in the Scooby-Doo space. You probably already know about it with the Woodsman, the guy, the axe-wielding maniac, who is also a green hooded monster. And, you know, he's a crazy villain. So we're going to do a little bit of a whole entire review of this whole entire movie after a recent rewatch of Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. We're going to go a little bit about the premise of the movie and a ton of other fun facts and stuff. I'm going to give my takes on each of the villains because there's not just one. And is this really a Scooby-Doo horror movie? Now, when I say horror, I'm using this very loosely because it's a kids show. It's a kids movie. They can't kill people. They can't have blood. They can't have chopping of heads or whatever. They can't do that. But most of the time, Scooby-Doo villains don't wield axes and throw them at people and almost kill some people. That's not really normal for Scooby-Doo. I mean, there's some close calls, but this kind of broke through because 2010 was a little bit, this is like right when Mystery Incorporated is coming out, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the TV show. So during the time, it's all the same voice actors. And just this whole entire movie, in 2010, it's pretty modern today in 2024. So, you know, all the horror movie tropes, they use some of them. There's a lot of insane scenes, so let's just talk about a little bit of the movie. So we start off with a insane, like, before the title sequence, we already, like, jump into the whole entire thing with Camp Little Moose. They're doing a little campfire tale about the Woodsman, who, he's a crazy guy, and, you know, he really enjoys throwing that axe around, alright? So, they actually find the Woodsman. He actually, like, shows up right in the beginning, just already, and he is ready, dude. He is ready, all at it, trying to kill one of the camp counselors. He runs away and tells the guy in charge, Bert. He's the owner of Camp Little Moose. And also, he was Fred's counselor when Fred went there when he was just a little guy. Now, the Woodsman does some crazy things right at the beginning. I'm not going to try to do this whole entire thing talking about the movie, but bro, he blows up the whole entire boathouse. Like, explodes. It is massive. Like, okay, that's crazy. All right, that's not really Scooby-Doo. Like, what? Okay, buddy. And then he has a message nearby the boathouse when Bert goes over there. It says, "Get out." So, yeah, and the Woodsman suddenly shows up and almost gets Bert. Then we cut right to a insane fire music video, which is also our title card for Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. And it's summertime. Summertime. Do-do-do-do-do. I'm not going to sing it, guys. I can't sing, but Trust me, it's a banger. You can find it on YouTube. Go watch it. It's a banger. All right. So yeah, Scooby-Doo and the gang travel to Little Moose because Fred's like, it's his old summer camp. He's like, yeah, guys, we got to go there. Got a vacation and become camp counselors. All right, guys. And then they show up. So they find Bert talking to Ranger Knudsen, Forest Ranger Knudsen, and they discover a lot about the camp's old legends, including the Woodsman, the Fishman, and the Specter of Shadow Canyon. Alright, so before we move on, Scooby fans, if you don't know me, I'm Scooby Culprit. I know it's a weird name, but I'm a culprit, okay? I surrender, guys. I'm Scooby Culprit, okay? Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. I do a lot of cool, like funny, cringe, I don't know, videos about Scooby-Doo, mostly about the villains. Today we're doing something a little different. Anyway, with that aside, let's get back into Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. Yeah, so basically, once the Woodsman starts coming out again, and he's just out of nowhere doing his stuff, people are starting to realize these camp stories are coming true. They're not just a story anymore, which kind of reminds me of the movie Scary Stories Tell in the Dark. If you don't know that horror movie, it is basically a bunch of kids read a book that starts like writing its own stories, and they start actually becoming real type thing. Yeah, it's kind of reminds me of that. That movie came out way after this, but that trope of things coming to life that were originally fiction and stories is a big trope in horror for a long time. I'm just using an example, okay? Anyway, with that aside, let's meet some of these other characters that we get. We get the kid characters they arrive at the camp. There's only 3 of them. They arrive at the camp, like, for some reason, even though Bert was like, no, we called it off. No one's coming to Little Moose, right? Well, we get Luke, Trudy, and Deacon. Deacon's going to be important later. Luke is basically a miniature Fred, but with a worse haircut. And he's also voiced by the guy who plays Robin and, like, all those. He's like, you know the voice actor, but you don't know his name. He plays, like, every kid. Okay, and then we got Trudy. She's, like, goth, emo, okay? And Deacon, he's the fat kid. But he's also a convicted felon named Babyface Freddy. What? We'll talk about that later. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, also, Mystery Incorporated. In this movie, they are also called Mystery Incorporated. I'm going off to a tangent here. But at the end of the episode, when they do the whole monologue with the villains and stuff, and all what happened with the dam and whatever, they play the Mystery Incorporated music. And this came out a little bit before Mystery Incorporated, or at the same time as Mystery Incorporated. So I think, this is a theory, but I think maybe this was a scrapped idea or episode from Mystery Incorporated that they thought was so good that they have to make a whole movie about it. That's what I think, because it gives off the Mystery Incorporated tone, which is amazing. I love that. That's why this movie is so good. Like, people always talk about Zombie Island being the peak of Scooby-Doo. This movie is up there. Sure, the villains, they seem very scary, very horror-esque, like I was talking about, but after a rewatch, yeah, they're really not. It's a kid show. They can't be killing people, like I said. But in the beginning of the movie, it is very good, okay? Like, it doesn't seem like you're watching Scooby-Doo. Later down in the episode, yeah, it gets kind of goofy. They kind of rush things up and clean it up. Anyway, let's talk about Big Moose for a second, all right? Big Moose Lake. So we have Little Moose. Big Moose is basically, Little Moose is the poor people. Big Moose is the rich people, okay? Pick a side, and everyone chooses Big Moose because they got the infinite buffet, infinite food, computer labs, a whole entire aquarium, a biking thing where you like go on the ramp and go over the buses type thing. And Big Moose is crazy. It is absolutely unbelievable. If the movie was placed in Big Moose Lake, it would be a whole different movie. So we do go to Big Moose Lake like right away, get to see everything. We don't stay there very long in the movie, but it's pretty cool seeing all of that stuff in 2010. When we are at Big Moose Lake, we do get to meet Jessica, Camp Big Moose's head counselor, and she pulls up to Little Moose after they meet her later, like earlier in the episode they meet her, but she pulls up to Camp Little Moose because she thinks they're stealing supplies at Big Moose, but they aren't doing it, and they thought she was the Woodsman, so they trapped her, and Fred kind of liked it. Fred's a simp. And anyway, she was like the RV, some sonar equipment was missing from the camp. So why would the Woodsman need sonar equipment in an RV? I don't know, man. We'll figure that out. They go to Shadow Canyon. They see the Spectre. Spectre's crazy, by the way. Spectre is still scary to this day. Probably more scary than the Woodsman in some scenes. She is like just screams at them, and like the teeth, her jaw can just go so wide, it's crazy, bruh. Or they don't really explain it. They just say she flies because of zip lines. That's all they explain. In the beginning of the movie, they go to this place. It's this shop owner guy. He owns this like camping gear shop, you know? And they talk to him for a bit. He comes back later, which is now what we're talking about right now. He knows a lot about Moose Creek. Now, what's Moose Creek? Earlier in the movie, Scooby went underwater when we met the Fishman, which is a absolutely goofy design. It is his story, the Fishman's story is this kid, he looked like a nerd. He was skinny, he had glasses, butt teeth, all the above. He goes into the water, and when he was in the water, he just spent all his time in there. He just never left. So he just turned into a fish. Like, what? Excuse me? And then he just terrorizes people. So Scooby encounters the fish man. He kind of like chases them. Almost like he breaks all their boats. Kind of almost kills them. I don't know how they survived going down the dam, which is kind of like about 100 feet high probably or more. I don't know my feet. So Moose Creek. What is Moose Creek? Moose Creek is a underwater town. Underneath, get this, it's underneath Big Moose Lake. So, Big Moose Lake, there's a dam blocking the lake from Little Moose. Like the whole entire camp of Little Moose, including the Little Moose Lake, which is pretty little, I'm not gonna lie. Back when Moose Creek was an actual town before they filled with water, there was a notorious gangster named Ricky Lorraine. Now this Ricky guy, he was a really good bank robber. Now, when Ricky died in prison, his last words were that the sun hitting the town on the summer solstice would reveal the location of the treasure. On top of the building is a mirror thing for the sun to shine down on, so the light hits the exact location where the treasure is. Ricky's cellmate was another gangster named Babyface Beretti. Babyface, you know, the guy Deacon, the kid, he's not a kid, he's actually Babyface Beretti, bruh. He is Babyface Beretti, and he is an adult man who looks like a child. So that's where these two little things connect. Just to spoil the whole thing for you, because of course you watched it already, right? Babyface and our ranger friend, well, our ranger friend's not really our ranger friend, is he? Because he's actually a criminal as well. Babyface and ranger, they hid a lot of dynamite underwater, like in an underwater cave, of course. The whole dam exploded. So all the water fell into Little Moose, destroyed. Now you understand why the Woodsman was like, get out. And the Woodsman actually destroyed Little Moose before the dam broke because he couldn't find the last people in there. Deacon was nowhere to be seen. I wonder who or where he went, you know? And there was a near-death experience. Since no one was in the Little Moose, the dam exploded. They lit the dam off, okay? And because of this, Scooby and the gang were too busy yapping to realize the water was flooding in, and they just narrowly escape the whole entire flooding, because they would have died. That water was fierce. So they escape in the mystery machine with Scooby driving it. Like, hello? So because of that, guess what got revealed? The underwater town. So since Scooby and the gang and the kids were like, no, we didn't have enough, let's go into town. So they go into the town, get to see it. It looks really cool. Something I didn't mention is the colors and visuals of Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. It is amazing. Oh my gosh, it's peak. And the cuts that they do, especially in the beginning of the movie, they do some seamless transitions, like stuff that makes transitions in 2024 look bad. Like, these transitions were nice. They go into town, they look at the visuals, it looks so nice at night even, and they come across the Woodsman. This is where he's no more playing around, guys. No more playing around. Woodsman chases Fred, Jessica, and Luke, okay? He is not playing around anymore. It is big time, okay? Chases them upstairs to where that bell is that I was talking about. Yeah, he almost kills him, and they save the day, of course. He falls down what might be 20 stories and survives. Now, this is not, how did he survive that? But he had to survive because he had to switch to the Fishman costume, because guess what? The Ranger, he just did every costume. He was the same guy in every costume. I don't know how this Ranger, the gang catches all of them, including Babyface, and they all live happily ever after, because Big Moose and Little Moose combine to form Camp Little Big Moose. And the Mystery Inc. gang serve the remainder of the summer as camp counselors there. And it is summertime right now currently, so this was just a great movie to talk about, I feel like. So let's move on to the villains. We have 4 villains technically, because I'm counting Babyface as a villain. Because when I talk about villains, I don't mean guys in masks. For the most part, I don't mean guys in masks. This time, Babyface, he's kind of a guy in a mask. He did put on that mask, as in a wig, for Deacon. When Babyface played Deacon, he changed his voice and everything. Anyway, Babyface, great villain. Should we tier list him? Yes, we're going to tier list him. Okay, tier list has been set up, so let's start with Deacon / Babyface. He is going in B tier. Now, I know, why am I doing a tier list for a flippin' review? But, like, hear me out. Deacon B tier, he was great. Okay, if you first time watchers will have no idea that it's Deacon as Babyface, okay? You would have no idea because bro hides his voice so well. And, you know, Deacon as a character, if you excuse the fact that he's Babyface, he's a pretty good character, okay? Especially for kid characters in a kid's movie goes. Okay. All right, next up, we got Fishman. Fishman is also gonna stay at B tier. I know, chat, is this actually real? Yeah, he's B tier because in the end of the movie, he was pretty desperate to actually hurt someone. He failed miserably. The beginning, he did really good, so I feel like that evens him out at B tier. We got the Spectre. The Spectre, she shrieks a lot.
Like, did you hear that? Nope.
And that makes her an A tier villain because just the design alone makes me just like absolutely shriek myself, okay? Because that's a scary design, and I feel like that could be used in an actual horror movie. Another one that could be used in an actual horror movie is the Woodsman himself, S tier. The Woodsman, he is not like holding back any punches, okay? He is gonna do anything he can to kill anyone. He fails, but did he fail sometimes? I don't know. He did a lot of destruction, which I feel like puts him there. If we're talking about villains of this movie, and just this movie, yes, he's the best of this movie, obviously. So, yeah, there's the tier list, okay? So finally, to end off our villains section, the villains of Scooby-Doo Camp Scare are iconic. The movie is great. And I really think these are great horror movie-esque villains. Anyway, let's move on to our final part of this video. My final thoughts. All right, this is going to be a quick final. Before we end here, guys, let me know what you think about Scooby-Doo Camp Scare in the comments. Me personally, I really enjoyed this movie. As a summertime kids horror movie type thing, it's like watching Goosebumps, you know? It gives off that. It's scarier than most Scooby-Doo. And that's why a lot of people love this movie. Me personally, I enjoy it. It's a fun movie. Another thing is in the movie they had a lot of strange fanfare for a kids movie. Like they did a very sexualized portrayals of multiple of the female characters and some of the male characters, which is kind of weird for Scooby-Doo. But yes, for all the simps, yeah, they had that, and that's why a lot of people like the movie. I feel like this movie, out of any other direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies, this one they tried really hard with, and they succeeded. It was great. The villains were great. The ending was shocking. The colors, the direction, the characters, just all around great. Okay, and they pushed the boundaries. They really did. Like, for a horror movie goes, yeah, I mean, it's all right. Like, it's not Friday the 13th, but it's Scooby-Doo. Those are my final thoughts. The Spectre of Shadow Canyon appears in the post-credit scene. Yeah, this has a post-credit scene. Are you kidding me? And appears revealing it was real all along. Can you believe it? Yes, I can believe it. And now I'm not going to Shadow Canyon ever. Yeah, Scooby fans, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more if you really want to. I want dedicated Scooby-Doo subscribers, okay? If you don't want to subscribe, then you don't have to. You don't feel obligated. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
I'm sitting on top of the world. Got my friends all around me now. Why even got